Hey everyone, what is going on? So we are battling my friend Shagness in the Sinister Cup. I will link her Twitter in the description down below as usual. So her team will be Alolan Mawak, Mawile, Godvar, Dusclops, Steelix, and Poliwrath, and my team will be Steelix, Poliwrath, Slowbro, Dusclops, Mawile, and Alolan Mawak. So I am trying out Slowbro because I battled Styx10, I think it was yesterday, or actually maybe it was like 2 days ago, and he absolutely destroyed me. We only played I think it was 3 games, but he absolutely wrecked me with Slowbro. So I wanted to give it a try. I wanted to see how it worked, and I wanted to see how good it was as a confusion user for this cup. And in theory, on paper, it seems amazing because it resists all of Poliwrath's moves as well as Medicham, right? I mean, it's going to resist Ice Punch, Psychic, it's going to resist Dynamic Punch, it's going to resist Power Up Punch, it's going to resist Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump still does a decent amount. I think it's almost half, maybe a little bit less to Slowbro. But in theory, it does it really well because it's not going to be like Bronzong, where Dynamic Punch will still do a lot to Bronzong, or Ice Punch, which will do a good amount to Claydol as well. So it does seem really good. As you can see right now, we do have the Slowbro out. And we're going to be hit right now in the face with a Dynamic Punch. I mean, still taking a decent amount of damage, but obviously we're able to take it because we do resist it, as I said. Still doing a good amount of damage, but yeah, so I thought Slowbro would probably perform a little bit better than it did. It's still good. I still think it's a good Pokemon for this cup as a confusion user if you're still undecided. I'm leaning towards Claydol myself, honestly. Also like Bronzong, but I like Claydol as well. But let me know your favorite confusion user. I know I've seen people use Gallade as well, which is really good. But yeah, I wanted to use Slowbro for this video. We actually got whacked in the face with the Shadow Ball. So nice Shadow Ball on her end. That was unfortunate. I bluffed with that Dynamic Punch, and she's going to take the bait and shield. So it's good for us. We're going to go and throw another Dynamic Punch her way. She does not take that one, and she's going to end up knocking us out, but we are up a shield. So I bring in my Dusclops, and I'm going to go ahead and block this. So it's a good thing I did block it because it is a Shadow Ball. So right now we have a Dusclops on the field. She does have switch advantage. We're both at 1 shield. Mawile is coming in. Now, Mawile is good against Dusclops, but at the same time, Dusclops is really good against Mawile because it does get to those Fire Punch moves really fast. So I think it, for the most part, I don't know. I mean, it could go either way. I think Dusclops wins this matchup. I mean, we were at lower health, so I think a Mawile is going to win because of that. Yeah, Mawile is going to win because of that. I mean, it all depends. If she has shield, she'll probably win that. But I'm not really too sure, honestly, on that matchup. But right now, I bring in my Slowbro, get hit with a Power Up Punch. She switches into Dusclops, and the thing about Slowbro is that, yes, I do think it's a good confusion user, but you're basically going to need to get it out against a fighting type like the Poliwrath or the Medicham in order for it to really shine, because it's a psychic type, so it's going to take a lot of damage to bite, to ghost moves, and she's going to finish me off in that one. So Dusclops will be able to beat Slowbro, of course. So yeah, good game. And we have another game. I do lead with the Steelix, and she leads with her Steelix. So I believe both of these Steelix have Dragon. Actually, no, I have Dragon Tail. She has Thunderfang. So I personally, as I've said before, I do like the Dragon Tail a little bit better. Actually, I like it a lot better just because I like getting to the charge moves faster. Now, I did switch into Poliwrath. That was actually a bad switch on my end. I'm so used to switching into Poliwrath because Poliwrath generally beats Steelix, but when it has Thunderfang, Poliwrath takes a lot of damage, so you don't want to really do that switch into a Thunderfang one. But I totally forget about Thunderfang sometimes, guys, in the heat of the moment, because it's still relatively new. I mean, it's been out for a little bit, but anyway, I do bluff with that Dynamic Punch, and we almost get to the Hydro Pump. I'm going to go ahead and throw up this shield because I know I can get to the Hydro Pump. Now, I was expecting to catch a last shield in this situation because the reason I blocked was probably, I would assume, to get off the move that would do a lot of damage or almost knock out the Pokemon. But she doesn't shield. She does shield the Mawile instead. And now we have Steelix against Mawile. So I know this is a winning matchup for me because I am going to be able to get to that Earthquake. Even if she had to play rough, which I knew she wouldn't, but even if she did, it wouldn't have knocked us out, obviously. So we do knock out Mawile, and we do go ahead and pick this one up. this game. Despite the poor switch, in my opinion, in from that Poliwrath into the Steelix with Thunderfang. But right now, my Mawile versus her Poliwrath, so definitely a poor move. Not poor move, but like a poor lead for me. Going to switch into Poliwrath. She does switch into her Dusclops. And I am going to go ahead and take this move. I could take Shadow Punch. And we do get up to Hydro Pump, just charging up extra energy. I do go ahead and fire off the Hydro Pump, hoping she would think it was a bluff, and that's what happened. So she does not go ahead and shield that. So it was really good for me. She will fire off a Shadow Punch, and I'm just trying to feint her Dusclops down with Bubble, but unfortunately, she does get to another move. So to keep switch advantage, I will block that, and I will knock out the Dusclops, although she is currently up a shield. She brings in Poliwrath, and we actually managed to get to the Hydro Pump. So I do just go for that Hydro Pump. I figured it would be shielded no matter what, but yeah, we do go for it, and we're going to go ahead and allow our Poliwrath to get knocked out with this Dynamic Punch. I do bring in Slowbro, and as you guys know, Slowbro can take moves, fighting moves, as well as water moves, ice moves, doesn't matter what she has. So she switches into Mawile. I'm going to switch into Mawile as well, but she is up energy, so that's really bad for me. We're going to take this Power Up Punch, and we're going to get off a Power Up Punch of our own. The reason it's bad, especially with Mawile, for your opponent to be up energy if you have a Mawile mirror match, is because they get to the Power Up Punch first. Their bites are going to start to do more damage to you before your bites do more damage to them, if that makes sense. So, I think I should have actually blocked that Power Up Punch so then I could finish her Mawile off before she finished off me. So I do think that was a mistake on my end, because she does bring in the Poliwrath. I do get off my Water Pulse. Now, she let that go through, I would have ended up winning, because I'm going to go ahead and block this. And as you can see, Confusions are just going to do a lot of damage, almost knocking out the Poliwrath, literally surviving with 1 HP. So maybe I should have blocked the Power Up Punch and knocked out with Mawile. Not really too sure, but either way, she does win that. So she'll lead with Dusclops, I'll lead with Poliwrath, and we'll see what happens. And as she goes for whatever move, it's going to be Shadow Punch, of course. So I'm going to let this go through. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the switch into Mawile, charging up Bite. She does switch into Gardevoir. Now, I lag here, as you can see. So that's unfortunate for us. I thought I was in trouble because of the lag. I'm going to get the Power Up Punch off, and that will just allow Bite to do so much damage, guys. Wow, that's insane how much damage it does. I do decide to allow Mawile to go down, though, and I'm not going to bring in Poliwrath because I don't want to take any charm damage. I will bring in Alolan Mawak. Now, if we didn't lag, we would have won that Mawile versus Gardevoir, but we did lag, so it is what it is. It's okay. It's no big deal. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and go for the bait, go for the Bone Club, and let's see if she takes the bait, as she does. And she's going to get off a move. Now, I tried to switch into Poliwrath, but it didn't go through for some reason. So I'm going to pull the switch, and she'll pull the switch into Mawile. I do go for the Dynamic Punch, and waiting to see how much this would do, but she does throw up the shield. So I decide to just go straight for the Hydro Pump. So I do go for that Hydro Pump. I actually miss a bubble, but we still hit the Excellent to knock out Mawile. And she will bring in that Dusclops. I am going to go ahead and shield this. So we survive and try to get off the Dynamic Punch. So we do get off the Dynamic Punch. So despite the lag, we're still actually able to pull this one off. But it was very difficult. As you can see, we're lagging again. But this Dynamic Punch will be able to knock out Dusclops. So we do win that. But that's okay. No big deal. So good game. Good game, as always. Always a pleasure battling Shagness. I appreciate the battles always, by the way. And we're going to jump into another one. I lead with Poliwrath, and she leads with Poliwrath. So it is a Poliwrath mirror match. Now, I really wish I had Mudshot on mine. Unfortunately, I don't have a Legacy one. Now, would I use it over Bubble? Well, I'd certainly try it out. I don't necessarily know if I would use it. I guess it depends. We're going to go for Dynamic Punch as well. And she's not going to let that, she is going to let it go through, excuse me, and she's not going to shield it, and we're going to go ahead and shield this Dynamic Punch, and we do get to another Dynamic Punch, and we're waiting to see if she's going to go ahead and let it go through, as she does. So we do get switch advantage, but she brings in Dusclops. I'm going to go ahead and go for the Dynamic Punch, because I didn't think I could get the Hydro Pump. She does shield it, though, and I think I could have made the Hydro Pump, but it doesn't matter because she ended up shielding it. So I do bring in my Dustclops, and she has energy loaded. So we get hit with Shadow Punch, and we actually get hit with another Shadow Punch. So I let her load up on energy with Dustclops. So nice play on her end. Maybe I should have switched out immediately when I had the Poliwrath. Again, she gets off another Shadow Punch. We're going to go ahead and block that one. So I do get off a Shadow Punch of my own finally. And she's going to go ahead and block that and switch into Mawile. And I was going to go for the Fire Punch, but she knocks us out. And now I bring in Mawile, so she's up a lot of energy. So as I said earlier, she'll get off the Power Up Punch. And it's not necessarily just the Power Up Punch. It's the fact that her bites are now increased before my bites. So that's going to put a damper on us. And yeah, there's really no way out of this one. She does get another Power Up Punch off, and that is not going to knock me out, and the bites will just finish me off. So good game. We do get knocked out there, but that was really good. So we're going to jump into another one. And I do lead with the Steelix. She leads with Poliwrath. So definitely a poor matchup for me, especially since I don't have that Thunderfang. Switch into Poliwrath. She'll charge up energy and switch out. And I'm like, okay, probably not going to win this one. So I go for the Hydro Pump, and she actually allows it to go through, thinking it was bait, thinking it was Dynamic Punch. So we got really lucky with that. But I just went for the Hail Mary Hydro Pump. And so she will knock me out as well. So we bring in Dustclops, and I'm going to go ahead and take this move. Let's see what it is. It will be that Dynamic Punch. So Dustclops can easily take it, charging up a bunch of energy, trying to fire off multiple Shadow Punches. So we do get off one, and we do get off another one immediately. So that's really good for us. She will go ahead and block that, because that, I believe, would have knocked her out. She brings in Mawile, but we do have the Fire Punch ready to go. And Fire Punch charges up so fast. It does so much to Mawile, because Mawile really is not bulky. And yeah, we'll be able to take this Power Up Punch. I do switch into that Steelix, and as you can see, charging up enough for Earthquake. I do go for the Crunch. Against her Mawile. She does go ahead and block that. So now we're charging up again for the Earthquake. That Mawile is actually doing a lot to us. So we get off the Earthquake, and this is obviously going to knock out the Mawile. As she brings in, let's see what she brings in, her final Pokemon, which will be that Poliwrath. I actually tried to switch out immediately, but I'm kind of glad I didn't, because we wasted all of that Poliwrath's energy on Steelix. Well, maybe not all of it, but a lot of it. So I'm going to go ahead and block this Dynamic Punch, and we get off the Shadow Punch. So despite losing the lead, we do go ahead and pull off the game. But it was a very close game, and it was a really good one at that, of course. Yeah, quite a bit of battles in this one, more than usual. We battled quite a bit. And so let's see, I lead with Dustclops. She does lead with that Poliwrath. So I would say this is generally favorable for me. So we're just charging up a bunch of energy. She does fire off a move against us. Now, it is going to be Hydro Pump. As I said, it is generally favorable for Dustclops, but because I didn't block that Hydro Pump, she actually made out pretty well, because we're not able to take Hydro Pump well. We could take it, but not well. So we actually get off another Shadow Punch, and she would have fainted had she not blocked that, but she decides to switch, and I immediately go down. I didn't even see what happened. That's how fast it went. So now I bring in Poliwrath against Mawile. I will go for the Dynamic Punch against that Mawile, which will be met with her final shield. So really good for us. I'm going to go ahead and block this. Now, you might say that this was not a good shield, but I was really curious if she had enough energy for a play rough. I think she did, because she gets off another Power Up Punch so fast. So a nice bluff on her end, but I'm going to be able to feint her down with my bubbles. And I will immediately go for the Hydro Pump against that Poliwrath, which will knock it out. Dynamic Punch would have knocked it out as well. So probably should have went for the Dynamic Punch. I do bring in Mawile, and yeah, if I had saved my shield from earlier, I would have won this one. But she gets off a Fire Punch, and we're able to get off a Power Up Punch, which is good for us. Really good for us. But she's able to get off another Fire Punch. Now, I still have one shield, but I believe just before I knock her out, she's able to get off another one. Actually, I think this is a Shadow Punch, but it'll knock out Mawile anyway. Yeah, so she does go ahead and just wins that one. barely, literally 1 HP. So very close game, very well played as well. So for the next one, I win the lead, Poliwrath versus Mawile, and she will switch out into Dusclops, and I'm charging up enough for a Hydro Pump, of course. Now, I don't even remember if I shield bait in this one, we'll find out. So we get hit with a Shadow Punch, and I'm just charging up a bunch of energy. She has another one ready to go, another Shadow Punch. And I think I click on the bait. Yeah, I click on the Dynamic Punch to try and take a shield. And we do take a shield, so that was good for us. And now we're charging up for Hydro Pump. I will go ahead and block this because I know I can get to a Hydro Pump, which will either knock out the Dusclops or take her last shield. Now, honestly, let's see. I thought at the time she would block, so she does block. So we pull the switch immediately into Dusclops, and she actually switches and catches my Shadow Punch. So really nice switch on her end. Waste my energy. Unfortunately, not able to get off that Fire Punch for that Mawile, but we do get off another Fire Punch. And let's see what happens. I try to feint the Mawile. She actually gets to a Power Up Punch. And that's okay for me. I'll take the Power Up Punch because it's not going to do anything. It does increase Bite, which does a lot, but that's okay. At least she's out of shield, so I'm really satisfied with that. She does bring in Dusclops, and we go for the Shadow Punch. And it will knock out Dusclops, and then she goes for, or she brings in Poliwrath, and I'm going to go ahead and go for the Shadow Punch. And then I pull the switch out into my Slowbro, and as you can see right here, Slowbro could take, if it's a Hydro Pump, it could take it. If it's, Dynamic Punch, which I knew her moveset, and it still does a lot of damage to us, but we're still able to take it. And that will be it for this one, guys. See you in the next one.